There'll never be no comparison. You're live on the show. Sit back and have a listen. All right. LDBC, this is your boy, Coach Sheldon Harrison. You're live on the Coach Sheldon Harrison Combat Sports Show live. Okay, guys, I just peeped a very, very good interview on the Luke Thomas show of Tonya Evinger. And, guys, I am working diligently, man, to get Tonya Evinger on the show. She said she'd do it. We just still trying to agree on the time, and she's got to get back to me. But, hopefully, man, it turns out soon, because I really got a host of questions to ask Tonya Evinger. But she sounded really excited about it, so we'll see how it works out, man. You know how it is with Coach Sheldon Harrison, okay? But anyway, guys, I listened to the interview, and Tonya Evinger, she's coming in to win the fight, man. And, Tonya Evinger, she really exposed a lot, and it makes sense, with some of the decision-making that the UFC does. And, she said that, listen, if I can make a weight and my opponent can make a weight, Tonya says, look, I'm coming in the strongest, And she was talking about, the weight cutting, how that's going to be in her favor, because she said, well, I won't have to cut much weight. And she was saying, implying that Cyborg would have to cut a lot of weight, to get down to the weight limit. So Tonya is already thinking upset-minded, like, look, I got the advantage. And Tonya said, I was offered this fight pro bono before. It wasn't anything written in stone, but people were kind of throwing it around, offering me to fight. And, Tonya said, listen, I knew that I was going to have to fight Cris Cyborg in the UFC. Meaning, this is what she means. Look, the only way that I was going to ever get into the UFC is that I had to fight Cyborg or something of that magnitude, because Tonya Evinger, she's had problems with the UFC in the past too, especially about signing her. And Tonya Evinger wasn't about to kiss their PG-13 channel, wasn't about to kiss their behind in order to get there, And there was a couple things said, and Tonya Evinger, not going to play the status quo. Like some of the other fighters that they let the UFC say whatever and do whatever because they want that opportunity. But Tonya Evinger wasn't finna play a slave. She just wasn't finna do it. And, she was saying, in that interview that, look, they have to come at me correct, Don't treat me like I'm stupid, just come at me correct, And I agree wholeheartedly with Tonya Evinger. Tonya Evinger wasn't to be a plaything for the UFC. And, no, she wanted to get in on some of her own terms, but she said, people think that, I didn't want this fight. Tonya Evinger came out and said, I wanted this fight. So, I can't help but give props to this Hall of Famer. She said, hey, I wanted this fight. I really wanted this fight, and she said, I got this fight. And Tonya said, me and my team, we've been working, and she was just saying a lot of things that, what, I'm coming to win this fight. I don't know why people think that I just did this to get in the UFC. And she felt really disrespected, man, by, people saying that. And, Tonya also was wondering, I used to wonder why they never called me up. Because the damn girl resume is impressive. Tonya Evinger got a resume. But she said that, and she said something else that I've been saying too. She was saying that, you got a lot of these little young spoiled people that they can just come in and get UFC contracts, Mackenzie Dern, and, they don't have to even do anything to prove anything, Well, let me go ahead and take that a step further, Tonya, because you'll probably see the video. Let me take it a step further. They're looking at looks, okay? They're looking at how much booty you can show. They're looking at, how much chest that you got. They're looking at everything except for your fighting skill. So you get the people like the Mackenzie Derns. You get the people like the Paige Van Zants, okay? You get those people who they don't prove themselves. They don't have to prove themselves. They don't have to do anything. They just have to go, take off some clothes, shake their booty in front of Dana White's bald head, get his bald head on erect. And then, they in the UFC. Basically, okay? And I'm breaking it down. I mean, truth, recognize truth. That's what that is, okay? But, if you look at, and Tonya Evinger got an argument. My resume, she said my resume is good. I fought some of the best women in the world, and she was wondering why I never got the call up. And then, Luke Thomas, he was real true. He said, listen, we know why you got the call up. It's to save the event. And Tonya agreed with that. Yeah, and I agree with the question. I agree with Luke Thomas' theory. It is. It is to save the event. That's the only reason why they called up, which it kind of pissed me off, man. And now we know that really the UFC is not about talent. It's not about talent. It's not about that, you know, because if we see that, then, you know, we can understand why certain fighters, you know, like, and I'm, you know, I'm not saying Holly Holm isn't talented. Yes, she's talented, but we still know that it's not about the talent. It's about the look that they want. And I'm sorry, Holly Holm being the title contender, and she gets the winner of Nunes and Shevchenko. I'm gonna tell you now, this channel, I'm gonna go crazy if that happens. Like, it's gonna be a video every other day. I don't really care, man, because I do as I please and walk to my own beat. But you know, Tonya Evinger hit the nail. They hit the nail on the head, man. And so Tonya just said, you know, I know that's the case, but you know what? I'm going to make the best out of the situation. She didn't come to lose, man. But you know, it's a shame, man, how people like Tonya Evinger, they work their whole life, man, and they dedicate themselves to their craft. You know, they're not doing a lot of crazy stuff, man. You know, you look at Tonya Evinger's social media, man, she's not doing a lot of crazy stuff. She's not shaking her behind and not doing. No, Tonya Evinger in there, you know, getting it done. She fighting. She training. You know, and she is a veteran, and she is going to be a Hall of Famer. She better be. When they have the women's MMA, you know, first ballot Hall of Fame, Tonya Evinger better be on that ballot, man, because this girl has been doing it, and I'm talking about doing it right for a long time. But you know, she hit the nail on the head. It's a lot of spoiled women. You know, you got some of them that they ain't done diddly squat, but they still able to, you know, get all the breaks, get all the opportunities. Well, you got fighters like Tonya Evinger. You know, they don't get the, you know, they don't get that. And you know, I give Juliana Pena a hard time, but you know, the reason why she do all that, because Juliana and Pena understand. You know, you got to do certain things, and Juliana has to talk her way to get these opportunities. I mean, that's it. And Juliana just put it, you know, she pretty much put herself out there like, look, if I become the villain, people will talk about me. I mean, I talk about it. I mean, that tell you what she had to do or has to do in order to stay relevant in this company. You know, and then let me say something else, man. The UFC, to be a big business, they're ran very unprofessionally, man. Good grief. I mean, you got employees making, you know, like bad comments and remarks about, you know, the fighters, and then, you know, and on the men's side too, they do that, man. I mean, it's ran very unprofessionally, man. And it's like, you know, and they wonder why people just come out and start exposing them. And Tonya Evinger, she got going, but the interview got cut short. And I know Tonya Evinger was about to go in. I'm talking about go really in. And I'm telling you, if I get Tonya Evinger on the show, Tonya Evinger, she can talk for an hour for all I care. I'll sit back and listen to everything she got to say, because she was telling so much truth, man, that it's not even funny, man. So, you know, you get this veteran, man, who see what's going on. You see, you know, she see what's going on, man. And you've had a lot of people that's come out and they've said the same thing. The same thing about the UFC. They've come out and said it. Tonya Evinger not the only one. I hope that this turns out well for her, man. And you know what? And, you know, it's an insult if they don't even put this woman in the freaking top 10, man. It's an insult in the top 10 for bantamweight. Because I can look at the top 10 right now, and I can tell you who all Tonya Evinger would be. Maybe that'll be in the next video if I feel like it. But, man, you know, shout out to Tonya Evinger, man. Shout out to Tonya Evinger for that interview. I mean, the coach really, I listened to the interview twice, man. Shout out to Tonya Evinger. This is your boy, Coach Shelton Harrison. I'm done. What are you guys waiting on? Subscribe to the best women's MMA platform on YouTube.